So hi guys, so everyone seems like you here. Let me see what's going on stuff. We're just gonna delay a bit, some technical issues. We will start in like a couple of minutes. Uh, okay, cool. All looks all good now. Let me see how many people. Um, uh, can unmute. Okay. So guys, so thank you so much for joining. So we're gonna start. I'm gonna intro the speaker, everything. So this is what we've been happening now. Like we're going online, because of all the virus and everything, right? So we decided no more like meetup. Although now they allow us to do offline meetups and everything, but we still not gonna do that yet until everything is like 100% sure it's safe. So I think I'm not really this. It's gonna be like simple, like catch up with like one speaker, and then have a simple like a mamak kind of session, like we just discuss whatever you want. Like, but we allow. I mean, for you guys, like as usual, it's casual, right? So just comment anything, and then we just pick out the question, and we just gonna like talk about it and discuss, or anything you can ask the speaker. Like maybe you wanna ask where she is now, like she gonna do, everything can. Um, so I'm gonna introduce the speaker right now. Just I need to get something first. So let me get that. So okay, if the internet is catchy, I'm sorry. I tried to use my message, but then something wrong with my hotspot, which always have the good internet speed. Okay, so the topic is about Angular and Electron and Firebase. So it's just a nice mixture of topics. You can ask her about anything about Angular, Firebase. She's very experienced as well, like data side as well. So you can ask data speaker as well. The talk is going to be like a Slack and Telegram application built on Electron. So obviously there's going to be a lot of hype. People want to build this and everything. And about her herself, she's Dara, and she's going to join Amazon Spain in Spain. She's just in Kazakhstan now. Like before this, she was in Malaysia like quite some time. Like she was like working in Seek Asia as a part of the data team and like a software engineer and data scientist. You can ask her about how she went from software engineer to data scientist as well. Like or anything related to JavaScript, anything that you have questions, that you can just go ahead and ask her. So let me bring her in, and she will carry our way. All right, Dara,
Hi.
you're live now. So go ahead and bring this on. I'm gonna
Awesome,
remove
awesome.
myself. It's all up to you.
Sure, thanks. Thanks for such a lengthy introduction. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, seems like it's on. So hi everyone, as I've been introduced just now, I am Dara and I'm gonna talk about Angular plus Firebase plus Electron. This is basically my side project that I'm doing right now while waiting for my visa to get ready. Currently, I'm in Kazakhstan and setting up my startup and doing some personal branding workshop stuff. So that's basically pretty much about me. And yes, I'm excited to join Amazon soon as well. And if you have any questions from that side, you can ask me too. I think I can just see your comments from here. Okay, cool. So basically, how this whole thing will go is that I don't have much slides. I actually don't like them in general, I mean slides. And this session will be a bit technical. No, I'm not in the library. I am in my house. So basically, there's going to be a few slides explaining what this whole thing is all about, and then we are going to dive into the coding part, which I'm going to show you from the tutorial that I found online, but experienced few troubles to actually connect all these three pieces together. And just going to talk briefly about what those struggles were and how did I manage to solve them, and show you the actual demo that is workable. I mean, it's not beautiful yet because I mean, I'm not as good in terms of front-end development. I'm more in the back end. But yet, I will still go through. I'll still go through the whole thing and then explain you everything. So let's go ahead and begin. You all can see my slides, right? Can just reply me yes if you see my slides. Okay, I think can see. Okay, cool. So where is the next? Okay. What each one stands for? Cannot see. Yes, some see, some doesn't see, but I see it here, so it should be seeable. Okay, cool. So what each one stands for? Basically, Angular is a framework for people doing web development stuff. It's basically using not really a JavaScript, but TypeScript and HTML, CSS, just like in general. And Firebase is the database that, I mean, it's not only database, but like in here, I'm using it as a database only, real-time database. It's actually a huge number of things. You can basically do almost everything that is cloud related on Firebase, and it's more or less free for first tries. Therefore, it's very easy to start things off with, and usually most of the startups are going with Firebase first because Firebase is relatively cheaper than, let's say, AWS or GCP. And then there's Electron. Electron is basically a platform that allows users to run applications locally using what's it called? Using web technologies. Sorry, the dog is barking. And basically, Electron is the whole setup was coming from this tutorial, and the whole idea of this is basically to build a medical application center application, whereby people can input their patients list, input their details, and then everything should be saved on cloud. Therefore, Electron came as an option because I didn't want to go hardcore and write it in Java or any other like C# kind of OOP languages, because it's just too much, and I just felt like it's not worth it. So just decided to go with this kind of trio. And I mean, Angular was not in plans, but because Electron tutorials that I found were mostly done on Angular, that's where I kind of got introduced to it. I had heard of Angular before, but I had never truly worked with it directly. So it's a kind of new thing for me as well. You know, always learning. So yeah, the general idea about Electron, I mean, why did I choose Electron is because it's a low barrier to entry. Again, it's easy comparatively. Because I remember doing Java kind of application, desktop application as one of my assignments, and that was a pain. That was a painful process, and therefore I decided not to go for Java. Although at the beginning I was truly considering it, and I was considering just like writing a website, but that introduces some unsafetyness, which we couldn't really allow, because you know it's a bit it's a lot of personal information, yet it's not necessarily needs to be scaled to hundreds of users, and therefore Electron kind of came as the greatest choice. And then it's increased development speed. So basically, the best thing about Electron in general is the fact that you can develop things fast. And then automatic updates and convenient installers. That is not true, but like I just put it here because when I just downloaded Electron, I was like, oh my goodness, there's so many libraries mismatch and everything. But nevertheless made it work, and generally they do try to make them aligned and everything, but it doesn't always work out. Then cross-platform support, so you can run it either on Mac or Windows. It's up to you actually, because I mean, you can technically run the same app that you build for Mac on Windows. It's just that you probably need to tweak some stuff for Windows, which I haven't done myself because I was only running it on Mac. But once I do it on Windows, I saw there is some differences. And but it's not really a lot. It's just a marginal differences, like, you know, the menu on top is displayed differently than the menu is displayed on Windows, and therefore there's some few things that need to be corrected, just like, you know, React Native when you do the iOS and Android separate thing. And then there is a large community of developers and users, and therefore if you need some help, if you are stuck somewhere, you can actually ask for it. But I don't like asking online because it takes ages for people to reply to you, and sometimes they don't even reply. And therefore, I usually try to dig in my own, or like go for Stack Overflow, my favorite, and get some answers from there. So yeah, that's pretty much it about the intro. Now it's like a demo time, and I'll just go through through the codes and through the tutorial itself to briefly explain you guys what you will have to go through if you were to choose these technologies. And yeah, let's dive in. So basically, the tutorial, the default is this one. The overall, it was okayish. I mean, there were quite a number of things that I found a bit misleading, because a few things is like he didn't really specify where the command line is, and then I was like confused. Should I run that command or should I not? And yeah, the internet is quite slow. I'm sorry. So the first thing first that he suggests, but overall it's quite good. I mean, I managed to figure it out, and I'm glad that he actually posted out. But I think I'm kind of thinking of rewriting the whole thing in a more understandable manner, because it's when you dive into it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So basically what we are doing here is we're creating a database on Firebase. So when you go to console, you can actually create a project on your likings. So like you just add a project from here, and then it will create a project for you. And what I'm using here only is a database. And basically for testing only, I am doing the rules set to true. I mean, everything set to true. So that should be undone once you go once you publish it. But before that, just for testing purposes, you can just read and write as true. And then once we do the authentication for this application, that's where we're gonna do that. That's where we're gonna write those rules up. But once you're running it for the first time, go ahead and use that only. So. And then what the guy is suggesting basically is to add an app that will have some codes in it that will let you connect to Firebase, which I think is pretty easy in web. It's a bit of trouble in terms of iOS and Android for first starters. And Unity was a big trouble. I remember trying to connect it for so long and couldn't really do that. But yeah, managed to do that after like a few days of debugging. But basically on web, it's just pretty much easy. You just add an app, and then that will show you as this, for example. How do I see this? Okay. And then you can actually take everything from here that is needed. So I'm not going to show you that, but like in pictures, that's how it looks like. Hey, where's the image? Yeah, so that's how it looks like. So that exact config you have to add into your codes. What's Dara? What Dara? Do you see this, or what's happening? Am I lagging or something? Sorry. Basically, what's happening here is you just take all these configs. Those configs are needed for you to connect to real-time database, so that when you run your application, you can actually see the database can update, delete, or add things into your database. I'm going to show you that later in the demo. And then once you click on develop database, then create database, that's just the thing that I showed you just now. That's where you create your database, and then that's where the database is created. And then you can see some things inside. As you can see, there's already some things inside because, okay, that's random. Okay, so basically, that's what's happening here is the things that I add are here in the context, and then that's how the whole thing is going to be added. And then step 2 is basically create our Angular application. What you could possibly do is download his GitHub codes, and then from there you run it, and then those are the things. Those are the few things that you need to add if necessary. If it's already there, then make sure they're there, because those are the things that are basically needed for everything to work out. The challenges that I've faced so far for myself is when I run that npm install, because there are some libraries mismatches. I think that the codes that are here are a bit outdated, and therefore I had to keep twisting around and trying to find the actual version of that Firebase or like Angular to make them work together, and managed to fix that. And then that's a link to his GitHub basically, and then basically you're adding your config file here into your environment.ts. Again, that's a connection for your database. So that's pretty much it. And then this is basically for our database just now. TGH develop API. I don't understand API. What is it? Or I don't understand Malay. Basically, what is happening here is you are connecting that database and fixing and making sure that your things are saved. So like you see here is first name, last name, phone, and email, and then that's basically creating your Firebase DB. So that's like a few functions out there. So one is update, one is insert. You see the push command here. That's the same kind of commands you will see across other platforms when you are developing it on other applications. So, and then you update, and then if you remove, the command is pretty much simple, remove. Angular, what's Angular? You can actually check it out, but basically Angular lets you develop things on web, and you can actually develop web applications that are pretty much scalable, and there's a lot of frameworks out there that can help you build things. So for example, in this case, we're building it for Electron, which is a desktop application, but written on web, purely on web. Then I'm sorry, I'm not really a typical, what's the name of it, researcher kind of type of person who explains it in a very hierarchical, fashionable manner. I'm just like, that's how it is, that's what it is for. So the next thing is you run ngserve, and that's the kind of command that you run it on if you were to run it on web. So the thing is, in our case, we want to run it on Electron. So the only command that we need to add here is ng-build and electron dot, which is going to be shown later. But this is basically to test that everything is working on the website. So when you run ngserve, it's launching on your, let's say, Chrome browser. And then, so basically when he's testing here is the fact that it's adding some inputs, some variables into Firebase. And then once you build it, and then you install the Firebase tools, and then you log in into your Firebase, that's where you actually see this hot thing. Yeah, so many $sign, right? Basically, that's where you see this Firebase thing, and once you see it, means it's working, and then you proceed with the whole thing, just clicking whatever is necessary. I think for people who are familiar with Firebase, that's pretty much the same setup that you're doing in all of your projects that require Firebase. Then you're just choosing database, which is our main thing here. That's the only thing we're working with right now here. But of course, you can add other things such as hosting, storage, functions, and the rest of it. And then what's happening next is you just click on the other things, which is like configure single page app, yes or no, up to you. And then I think that's index.html, yes or no. And then once the whole setup is complete, we can deploy the app now, which is Firebase Deploy. And then once it's deployed, you can actually run it from the Firebase. And then the next thing is, like, from here, what we've done so far is we basically created an an Angular that is connected to Firebase. And now there comes the third part, which is Electron. And how you actually connect it is you add that library package inside of your script that contains all the libraries. And then once it's done, you add that command that runs Electron, which is electron dot. And then you, in your main.js, in this entry point, you need to create that file in the root folder. So you create your window electron initializer. So that is basically where I twisted it a little bit to make sure that it's not really launching as like a typical Windows window browser, but a huge screen to the full screen. But you can change it towards whatever needs you're having. In here, it's only 800 to 600, so it means that it will only occupy half of your screen. And then you load it. That's where the whole loading thing happens. And then we must modify the package JSON with main entry. That's where the whole thing starts. And then boom, you are running your npm Electron. And that's pretty much it in terms of the tutorial-wise. I think I can show you the actual demo so that you can have an idea of what's actually going on here. So where is my code? Let's see. What I'm doing here right now is I'm running ng build and Electron, and I'm just gonna close it up, or else you're a bit scared, I think. It's running. Yeah, quite slow because everything is on the internet. Sorry. You're always so slow. Never mind. What else is there? Shouldn't have run, I should just show it. The live demos. I like live demos and I hate them at the same time. They always don't work as expected when you're doing the actual demo. Oh wow. This one is like stuck there. Okay, never mind. I'll just explain you the whole environment thing, and then once this whole thing is run, is launched, I can explain you the rest. So basically what you will see once you download that GitHub, right, is Firebase is not here. Firebase is added once I run Firebase setup. But basically what we've been adding here is we have modified our package.json, which has all the packages that we need. That's exactly the place where you're adding all these libraries, and that's the kind of the package that works for me. I've tried to update some of the versions, but when I updated them, they were not compatible. Then I had to downgrade some of it to make it work. Then what else is here? This is not. And that's where your Electron is being launched. Is I commented this out, and then I just set full screen to true so that it launched to the full screen, because I want to fit everything inside of it, and the screen that it was given is not enough. And yeah, so that's basically pretty much it about this whole thing. And then the background color, I mean, you can set it as to whatever you wish to. And then node models is something that you download when you run the npm install. And then that's where the magic happens. In src and app, that's where all of the things are saved. So in contacts, you actually have all the contacts of your application. So what is good about this whole thing is the fact that it's divided into folders. And I like the way that he has so far created it in a way that I'm not lost. So like, let's say contacts components, HTML, CSS, and TSS are put it together, and therefore I'm not confused, because just opening it up, it creates so much confusion, but then closing it, it's like clear for me which one is which. So per se, oh, finally launched. Wow, so slow. Cool. So, where is it? Let me do this. Let me do this. Let me do this. Okay, so that's how it looks like right now. You see I can change it to whatever I need, and you see that my skills in terms of UI, UX, and front end is not good. So yeah, just left it as it is. I just made sure it works from the backend side. Basically what happens here is I can generally create users. So per se, I don't know, whoever named here Ivan. Hi, Ivan, by the way. Oh, sorry, time. Basically, what time is it right now? 19:00. Then Ivan. Then telephone number. I don't know what's your telephone number. I just write to the deck. Then I don't know, ivan.gmail.com. Of course, there is no checking and everything. I'll just add that later on. But that's just to make sure it works. And you see that it works. It's been shown. And in our database just now, where are you? You see that it's being added. So it's a real time. That's the advantage of the real-time database in Firebase, is the fact that it's pretty fast. And yep, so where is it? So, and basically there was a button of editing and deleting, but I removed it because it looks ugly right now. I'm trying to fix whatever happened to that button, but basically you can actually update and delete whatever thing you want. Because from that tutorial, he gives you the buttons that can manage this whole database thing. So that's how it looks like in general. And basically, that's pretty much it in terms of demo. And now, just a bit brief intro about how the code base looks like, and then we can just move on to Q&As, because I like to do it in the manner of me giving you the codes, and then you try it out, try it for yourself. But that's more of a workshop thing, and that's a bit hard to do it online. Therefore, it's just me talking, and I know that it's a bit blurry in terms of me explaining this whole thing. But I hope that it gives you an idea of how this whole thing works out. And therefore, you can try it out for yourself and see all of the advantages as well as disadvantages of the Electron. And instead of using some hardcore stuff, you can just go for web and do it on Electron. So basically, let's say, for example, contact list. That's where I commented it out. I don't know why it looks so ugly right now. So what happens here is I'm just getting that contact from the database, from the real-time database. That's the retrieval part of it. And in HTML, the way that I just split it into spans, because it's a real-time file database, we need that real-time. Sorry, I'll answer that question later. Basically, what's happening here is you are... Oh, by the way, Firestore doesn't work with Electron, as far as I remember. Then basically what happens here is in the CSS, that's kind of simple in a way. You just have your contact item, your full name item, and then a few things that you want to make it look coherent in a way. The few things that I've added is I added the span because when I added more things into the spans, I was not having it, like I was having it pretty mixed up. Therefore, I just added the spans. I hope my front-end developers for my team can fix that for me. Yeah. Then what's happening here is this is basically the whole logic. TypeScripts are having the whole logic behind, and you see there's a lot of imports happening to get all the information that we need, and then there is ng on it that gets the data from the database, and then in here you have on update on remove. It's basically updating that contact object and then removing whatever things that you feel like it's not necessary in your list. And it's pretty much common for everything. So the way that it's being done is you start from general, and then small parts of it. So like a bigger thing, and then there's small folders into it, and that's how it's basically set it up. And from there, you can update and twist whatever the needs are in Angular. And I think that there is a lot of documentation available for you to try things out here. And in general, I like the way that the documentation is written because it's handled by Google, and Google is making sure that everything is pretty much straightforward and easy to use. And therefore, but some things though doesn't truly work with Electron somehow. I can see that the same Angular code running on web, but doesn't always run the same way on Electron. So there might be some issues, so make sure to kind of run on both sides and test it out as well. And then some libraries, again, doesn't always work with one another, so make sure that the libraries are compatible with each other. That's the lesson learned from this whole project so far. And yeah, that's, I think, pretty much it. Once you have kind of started it out, you can actually run ng build to build your project from grounds first, and then once you are done building it, you can run ng serve to test it on web, or just ng build, and then you just run Electron. Because without ng build, all your changes that you've done so far are not reflected, and your Electron will just run the previous version. So yeah, I think pretty much it. Any questions, guys?
So I'm back in. So you ready for the questions?
Like, yeah.
Let me pick one. Someone asking, she is in the library. Are you in the library?
No. I'm not in the library. I was answering it while talking. I am actually at home, at my home city, in my parents' house, in my grandparents' house, sorry. And that's my grandfather's library kind of place. Those books are not mine, FYI. It's not me who is reading, it's my grandparents.
Looks pretty cool though, like your place. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? Thank you.
Yep, guys, keep coming. The questions keep coming. I'm just gonna go from top. And someone asked, Code Climber, are we going to make a Tinder clone? So if you listen to the entire talk, you probably know it's no. So it's just a simple app. So I already helped to answer that. And someone was excited for you. That's why earlier was someone mentioning your name. This guy is Odin, by the way. Facebook. So okay. The question: why not use Firestorm?
So far, from what I also wanted to use Firestorm first, but then the documentation, I think I can send Medium, or I'm not sure whether I will be able to find it straight away. But basically, when I was reading the documentation for Electron with Firebase products, Firestorm was not necessarily available. And the connection to it was not documented so far. And yeah, I'm not sure what they changed now, but from what I've read before when I was researching onto this whole thing, Firestorm was not compatible with Electron.
Yep. Just to add on that, Google is actually encouraging people to use data store instead of Firestorm currently. So that's,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's definitely data store have more features and stuff. And
okay.
How do you find Angular Fire documentation? Is it easy? Do you like it? Since you hate Firebase, Firestore documentation, so how about this one?
Angular Fire. I think so far in terms of Angular and Firebase, since both of them are Google's products, they are working okay together, and the documentations are pretty okay. There are some misflows. You won't be able to find straight away the more or less okay documentation. I think it will come on like third or fourth page of Google, but it's definitely there, so you'll be able to find it out. And stay tuned for my version of this whole documentation, because this documentation I showed just now is not showing you, is not as step-by-step straightforward. You know all these code labs that Google is doing? That's the way I think it should be written, but this is a bit lacking in terms of straight simple things such as run this command. It doesn't mean run, say this is the command actually.
Okay. I mean, if the code lab was not itself, like I tried before, like there are actually some issues as well, like the Google running a workshop for code labs, and like, oh, actually stuck here and there a bit. So I think if that's not even that up to that standard, I'm like, a lot of people are gonna have issues and stuff. So maybe they can find you out and ask questions as well. Okay,
yeah,
any more questions? Guys, keep coming questions. So what I'm gonna do now is like, so I'm trying out now another stuff is towards the end, you just have a simple chit chat, like how's like a coffee coffee talk, like any topics, anything just about your life. Like let me start. How's Kazakhstan and MCO stuff there. So if you guys don't know, she's in China, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm basically in Kazakhstan now and waiting for that visa to come out. And the only thing that is left for me, to be honest, is just 2 weeks wait in Spanish embassy here. But Spanish embassy was closed since March, the time I came back. And that's why I can't really go yet.
So you pretty much stuck your own place.
Huh?
Okay. So you've been working from home so far, or how is it?
Yeah, I've been kind of having some rest because I was fixing my health, and then afterwards I started doing that personal branding workshop, and then I was also involved in startup. So there is like 7 of us in my team now. I'm so delighted to call them my team now. I can't believe that I'm actually calling them my team, and we are basically trying different things out, trying to get some projects in. And yeah, it's kind of amazing to see that happening, because I wanted to do that anyways, even while being at Amazon. But now that I have more time into it, why not trying it out and see how it works, right?
Oh, that's pretty cool actually. Like, I mean, it's not easy to do startup, especially you have a team store. It's not easy. It's going to be a very interesting journey, exciting journey. Like, they teach you a lot, right? And if you don't know
Yeah.
anything about her, she also like involved in a hackathon. And if you need to have her in your team if you go and join a hackathon, because it's like a guaranteed win. Just telling you guys.
Not always. Don't put the pressure on me.
So I mean, at least you will end up with something.
Like
Alright.
I'm always joking about it. I'm the diversity
And
check for people.
yep. And my next question is like, how do you change from from a software engineer before this into a data scientist? Like, what attracts you? Like, were you doing JavaScript before this, doing a software engineer, and you don't like JavaScript and went to data scientist or something like that?
Yeah, I was doing Node.js while I was a software engineer in SIG Asia. So what happened is I started off, everything was cool, everything was interesting, and I was doing some funny projects, not to say funny, interesting projects. And I had a number of seniors around me that were very helpful and everything. But the nature of our projects were generally, I was bound to be bored out of them, because the impact that was created with those projects was not as huge. And the only thing that we did is like a small marginal fixes, which I think didn't really get me to grow as much and to experience things as much. I mean, I joined a big corporate primarily because I wanted to work with that millions of users and see actually what they need. But I wasn't really having an access towards this whole big chunk. And therefore, I thought that through data, I'll be able to find that out, what actually our users want, what's the actual need that they're facing, and probably from there develop something and get it going as a startup based thing, and find some product that might be helpful for millions of users. And
Okay, okay, go on.
yeah, I'm a huge storyteller, sorry, forgive me for that. And then from there,
Sorry, so go ahead.
and then from there, what happened is I talked with my manager and expressed my interest in data team. But that team alone was not necessarily looking for people to get them in. And it took me quite some time to convince them that I'm someone they need. Plus, for data science roles in general, what they ask for is PhD for some reason, which I think is a bit unfair in a way. But I understand where is it coming from, but at the same time, I don't see that the companies themselves give what is needed for those PhD people to come in. And there is this miscommunication that's happening. But nevertheless, I managed to convince them through joining them unofficially for 4 months, I think, and working with the project directly already, taking that data science bootcamp with Dr. Lau, by the way, and taking Udacity machine learning course. And then from there, I managed to get some skills in and convince the leaders to get me into another team. And that's how I shifted to data team. Yeah.
Wow, like that's a pretty like interesting story actually. I'm curious, like I mean, not many companies will actually listen to what you want to try to do, and like actually allow you to move your career from inside the company itself, like same company. They actually supportive of that. Like I mean, it's always not easy to convince, but it's pretty cool that you're able to convince and do what you want. It seems like you feel not satisfied with the software engineer and you find data more interesting and want to explore on that part. And in the same way, like growing yourself, right?
I think it's more about saying make yourself so loud that they can't ignore you anymore. That's where
Yeah.
it's coming from. So that's the main thing that I see as an issue, not necessarily as an issue, but lacking in people most of the time is the fact that they are so scared to say what they want that they end up being serving some others' needs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's always happening something. I mean, it's about people, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and another thing you mentioned is it's also about data scientists. Like they think is they're higher a bit than the software engineer side. Is that what you like saying, or is it
Hmm?
something else?
They what?
You were finding hard. You find it they're having a miscommunication from the data side, right? And they're finding it hard to convince them. I mean, that they need a software engineer, correct?
Sort of true, sort of true. Basically, what was happening is the fact that they were not hiring anyone because the team was full. And to be honest, it's like I knew about it. My ex-manager was kind of telling me about it. That team was not producing results. And without producing results, you can't really convince others that you need more people in the team.
Okay.
So that's where that
So okay,
was coming from.
okay, makes sense. Okay, let's move to something else, right? What made you to actually move out of SIG area? Like, is it the opportunity from AWS was your I mean the like a decision killer kind of thing, or like was that a decision for you, or why? And why AWS?
It's not AWS, it's
Is it
Amazon Kindle.
okay? So you think it's AWS is the highest, so it's like you reached your what you wanted to achieve, or you still have want to achieve more, to achieve
Of
more,
course, I want to achieve
like
more.
goals and stuff. So what's next for you?
I want to become one day just like Elon Musk. I don't know. because
Well,
because what he's doing with Neuralink is so amazing, and it's actually gonna help so many people with brain issues that I'm truly interested in. Because my mom is a doctor, and from there I kind of find it interesting the whole medicine sphere. And coronavirus kind of showed how bad it is in general and how much improvement there is still needed. And from there,
yeah.
I wish to one day to launch a product that will help medically with using tech. So that's the kind of the end goal. So if you compare that, the fact that I passed Amazon is here, and the fact that I'm gonna do that is here.
Yeah, yeah, get it. So pretty much you're gonna explore more towards AI stuff and new
Yeah.
scientists a bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I won't be,
Totally.
but
Definitely.
actually I won't be surprised. I won't. Actually, I won't be surprised that if you one day actually made up Elon Musk.
Wait
Like
for
actually,
for that picture with you.
just don't forget that this happened before that happened. So okay, I'm just gonna share one comment. Someone said Dara sounds like a manifested in human design.
Thank you.
Okay.
But coming
Uh,
back to your question, by the way, about
okay. Go on, go on. I think she's frozen. Maybe Elon Musk heard about her. Internet expert. Okay, I think she's frozen. So let's wait for
Okay.
like she refresh and come join again.
Okay.
You're back.
Okay. I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah,
scared.
yeah, good. So I was saying to them that Elon Musk probably heard about you mentioning about him, and he's somehow like trying to interfere here. So
Hopefully. No,
yeah, okay.
it's
All right,
funny
I
because
think pretty much. Okay, go on. Finish it.
yeah, it's funny because my mom's and my brother's personality, you know, the 16 personality test is actually Elon Musk, and
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting close to being more introverted. I'm surprised myself, and if I were to, I'll become one as well. So you'll see more things coming from that side as
All right,
well.
so you're now an INFJ or
INTJ.
so are you like ENFJ or INTJ? Okay, that's pretty cool.
Right.
INTJ.
Yeah. Right now
Okay,
I'm ENTJ.
so we pretty
I'm
much come to the end. Come to the end now. Okay, so yeah, we pretty much come to the end. I don't think people have any more questions now. So
yeah.
you
I
have
just need
anything
to.
like last words for your side? Let me give
Yep.
the spotlight to you. So
Yep.
wait, sorry.
How to share screen back. There. Okay. Where's the present? Okay. Cool. So I think that probably many of you have not noticed and seen, but now with what's happening around the globe and with the experience that I've had so far, I am pretty much ready to share about it with everyone else. And what is it that I'm doing right now is online study workshop, which is like 2 days, an intensive program for people who are struggling with interpersonal questions. Because what I've noticed in Asia in general is the fact that we are scared to talk about our achievements. We are uncomfortable to talk about them, and therefore with this workshop I am aiming to remove that uncomfortableness, because it's kind of lacking you in behavioral questions that are coming from all of these big companies, and not only them but other companies as well. So in Amazon, right, it's a very huge thing, the behavioral questions, because your technical is 50% and your behavioral skills is another 50%. That's how big it is, because they notice that when they hire just like technically good people, they are all most of the time hard to work with. Therefore, they made it very strong on behavioral now, so that they hire the people that are not necessarily as strong as technically, but they can be workable together with. So like if you're in one team, you can actually work together and collaborate. And from those behavioral questions, that's where they see it, your collaboration skills, and the tips and tricks like the STAR method, all the other things that will help you answer those questions in a very positive manner, so that you don't show yourself as irresponsible or like as in childish manner. That's what I'm gonna teach you guys in this workshop. And for those of you joining today's workshop, you're actually gonna get 25% discount, because I just want to see more people joining this and more people gaining from it. And so far, I've already done 2 batches, and they all are happy to see the changes they had been through from these 2 days. Why is it workshop? Because it's the most intensive way. It's the best way so far. What from my experience of teaching, that will actually give the best results. And I could see them improving from the rounds of interviews that we were doing on behavioral questions, and I hope to see that improvements on your side too. So what you get is actually 2 group sessions, which is 2 days, 1st and 2nd of August. One individual consult I will just send a link where you actually can book my time, and if you have any more like personal questions on one-on-one, we're gonna talk about them and try to come up with some solutions. And then lifetime support. So basically the Slack group are going to be created, the Telegram group is going to be created, and in there you can ask whatever questions that you might have in your future endeavors, or share with whatever achievements you are going to be facing so far. And then CV LinkedIn reviews. So you will be able to send me your CVs and LinkedIns. And if you want to, we can go through them during those consults, or I can just send you the feedback in text form, what you actually might consider on improving on, and what are things that are good enough already. So as you see, the prices are here, and 50 USD, the 25% applied, and then from there you can actually join the workshop on 1st and 2nd of August. So that's pretty much about the workshop. The form to sign up is actually there. If you want to, I can share those slides later on and share all the links that I've shared today so that you can have all the references. And thank you very much. I hope to see more of you in those big companies such as Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, FANG companies, because that's one thing that I want to help you with, because those are companies, those are still real human beings, and applying there is nothing scary. It's actually, I mean, I've seen a lot of people applying and failing and applying again and learning, and therefore I think from there you can actually learn a lot. So those are my contacts right there. You can contact me from anywhere, from like my Gmail, my LinkedIn, my Facebook. Sorry, the LinkedIn logo is old. Never mind. My Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, I'm not so active because in Asia it's not so active comparatively to Europe. When I went to Madrid Firebase conference, it was super active on Twitter, so I posted some things from there. But like afterwards, I just left it there. I'm mostly active on Instagram and Facebook. LinkedIn, I'm active, but more in a professional manner. On Instagram, you can see a lot of launches. Like most of the information about the workshop is coming from Instagram. And then the Facebook is basically some things that are more about with my foreign friends, because Instagram is full of my Russian-speaking friends, and therefore you can see some mix of languages there. But nevertheless, I try to do it in both languages right now. It's hard, I know, but I'm trying to do it. And yeah, so thank you very much for inviting me, and I was very happy to see you all again. Add me there. Don't hesitate to contact me if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you very much.
So thank you, Dara. So thank you so much for giving this talk and everything, like sharing your stuff. So pretty much you can reach out to her if you have any question or anything. And yeah, but I don't know whether she would charge you 50 USD or not. That's up to her. So.
No, for questions I don't charge.
So, yeah. Okay. Okay, so it's free. So okay, I'm gonna just stay in the call. I'm just gonna remove you, but just stay. All right, guys. So thank you so much for joining everything. Yeah. Well, actually, when she said Twitter, right, I'm actually more active on Twitter, to be honest. So anyway, thank you so much for joining tonight. We had a good like 1 hour, like I guess. So I hope it's beneficial for you. There'll be another talk next month. Probably like someone from, like, if you're interested, just let me know as well. Like, I'm just looking for speakers anyway, so we're just gonna do this online. So you can be anywhere, so long you have a time and good internet, or shitty internet, as it's fine. So long it's not that bad. And all right, see you guys. So I'm gonna end now.